what's going on, everybody? And welcome into Streamer in a Deemer. And today we have Bonds from Force Science with us. Welcome in, Bonds. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So Bonds does quite a bit of PvP action in the verse and puts it on the YouTube and the Twitch. And we'll put those links up here for you. But if you could, Bonds, just tell us a bit about what you and your crew get up to in the verse.
Um, Force science is kind of a amorphous thing. We don't get up to anything too specific. Generally, we call ourselves the non-org, where our main goal is just having fun. At the end of the day, we're just adults playing with toys, you know. So,
Right.
um, yeah, we try to keep it light and fun. For me personally, and the crew that I fly with from the org, we get into a lot of shenanigans, PvP. We try to get ourselves in sticky situations and shoot our way out, and
Nice.
whatever could be fun and interesting for the most part.
Awesome. I know y'all have been getting more into the machinima. I know some of your more recent videos. Those have been pretty cool, man. I've enjoyed those.
Thanks.
Is
Thanks.
that
Yeah,
something
yeah.
y'all going to do some more of?
Yeah, I definitely plan on it. We're starting to little by little, fleshing out some characters and a little bit of lore. Um, but yeah, it was one of those things I stumbled across by meeting Oliver Zark, who does Zark Media, Zark News, HubNet News, and stuff. And he invited me to Hubwire, where I met Nate from EE Studios and all those guys. And then I started watching their stuff and was just, blown away with the quality and what's possible in this game specifically as far as making machinima goes. So we tried our hand at it. We have our own style. It's not the most high quality, but we have fun and people seem to like it. And you get a good chuckle out of people. So yeah, we definitely want to make more.
Awesome. So when did you first start backing Star Citizen?
2019 is when I first bought in. Um, I can even remember why I bought in. I've said this before. It was, I had seen lots of Star Citizen videos here and there, this and that, but it wasn't until it was right before Microtech came out, and I saw the promotional video for Microtech. I remember the video. The guy was walking across the ice. They showed him wipe the ice off his visor, and one of the big things was there was like a rover under like a tarp, and the tarp was blown in the wind, and something about that video. I'm like, I'm in. I have to get into this. Um, so yeah, the first time I ever logged in was right before Microtech was released, but I was playing with some pretty cruddy hardware at the time. So, uh, it was quite a few months after that that I would say I actually started playing, but that was the first time I bought in and logged in.
Okay. What was your initial ship or your first ship?
First ship, I guess it was an Aurora, I think. Um, and then I quickly got a Cuddy Black and flew that for a while, but yeah, and then wasn't too long after that. I'm trying to remember exactly the timeline. Not too long after that, the MSR came out, and I got that, and yeah, little by little, added more like
Nice.
we all do.
Well, I know you. I see you in your videos. I see you're in the Polaris a lot. Is that your daily flyer, or do you have something that you consider your daily flyer besides that?
Um, I do have a favorite ship, but my favorite ship is the Hurricane. I've spent more time flying the Hurricane than all other ships combined, probably. But everything changes so much, flight models change, and it's not as useful as it used to be. Let's say it's not as powerful as it used to be. So um, I don't really fly that much anymore. But really, as like a daily driver, I fly all kinds of different things. It just depends on the mood. I get bored easily, so I jump around a lot. But we use the Polaris a lot because we do lots of multi-crew stuff. Most nights we'll have at least an hour or two of multi-crew playings, and the Polaris has just been so much fun. There's so many toys to play with on that ship. So yeah, we end up spending a lot of time in it.
Awesome. So what is your favorite thing about Star Citizen? If you had to pick one thing.
Oof. I don't know. It's not one thing. It's kind of like, my son asked me one time, "What is your favorite color?" And I'm like, the way I look at it is you can't have a favorite color. It's how colors work together. So having one favorite color, a color
Okay.
by itself, standalone, doesn't make sense to me. You need all the different colors for anything to you know what I mean? So that's
No,
the way I look at Star Citizen. Like I love the ship gameplay. I love the FPS ground stuff. I love MMOs and playing with my friends and making friends. And the way this game puts it all together, and the sense of adventure, the scale. I mean, come on, the scale is just unlike anything else. So yeah, I think it's not any one thing, and it can't be. It's how everything comes together. I look at Star Citizen like it's not so much a video game as it is like an experiment in gaming, like what is possible with gaming, and they're really pushing the limits here. So like, yeah, that's why I got stuck in and why I'm so addicted to it. It's just how everything works together, and
no,
it's
that's a really good answer,
nobody's
man.
ever nobody's ever tried this before. So
Yeah,
yeah, I'm addicted.
the possibilities are endless from in-game interviews to machinima to, I mean,
Yeah,
just playing the game. You can do
hell yeah,
PvP, you can do PvE. There's so many different aspects. And last week, interviewed Yo-Yo Meg, and she came in because of the ground combat was what interested her,
yeah,
which I never thought of before. I guess because I'm such a spaceship nerd, that's why I come. I
yeah,
completely forgot people would come in here because they find something they like about the ground combat.
yeah. I've always said there's like if you again, it's how everything works together. Like if you just like dogfighting, there's probably a better game. If you just like FPS, there's probably a better game. If you just
Right.
like exploring, there's probably a better game. But there's nothing out there that does it all together as well as Star Citizen, you know? So
That's true.
there's something about instantly going from a, like we do it all the time where we'll be fighting in ships and then we might get downed and I might jump out of my ship and now I'm shooting at you with a railgun from the ground and then I get picked up in a rover and off we go and it's just the
Th-
seamless, nonstop. That's what's so unique about Star Citizen.
that is a very good point. I was about to say, years ago, but even like actually right now, if you were talking to somebody like, yeah, I'm, flying in space, and then 5 seconds later, what are you doing? I'm on the ground doing a, you know, FPS shooter. I thought you was in a space game. No, 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 it's the same game.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's the eventually the everything game. I always used to dream of a game where when you're flying, it's like Star Citizen, and then say you want to go fishing, and it's like the best fishing game you've ever played. And then if you want to drive a car, it's like Grand Theft Auto. And then if you want to go hunting, it's like the Hunter Call of the Wild, all in one game, you know. And they have life simulator games and things like that, but this is the first place to me where it feels like they're really trying to flesh out all the different aspects to the fullest, you know? Like you could make a game that's just the FPS of Star Citizen. That could be its own game, you know? Or just the flying, that could be its own game. But, they're doing it all here and you know, there's ups and downs and problems and, it's not for everybody, you know. You got to have a little fortitude to go through it all. But like I said, I'm along for the ride. It's so unique that I want to be a part of the experiment too. Hence for science.
Awesome. No, that's good answers, man. So with the upcoming chapter 2 of the Save Stanton, we got the three different factions. Is there one you've decided to join or plan on joining, or?
No, to be blunt about it, I haven't. I haven't spent a lot of time recently doing gameplay loops and things like that. We've been having so much fun just playing the game as a sandbox, honestly. Uh, and there was a
Okay.
recent wipe too. So, and it's only just getting started. So, yeah, I really really haven't spent a lot of time doing much gameplay loops at all. The last couple months, honestly. So, pretty much whichever way my crew goes, I'm just going to follow them because
Gotcha.
I work a lot and I have kids, and so I don't get as much time to play as I would like to. So when I do finally get to sit down and play, usually we just go goof off, you know. So for the most
Right.
part, I follow their lead on a lot of that sort of stuff, you know.
And that's the like you say, man. That's the best part about this game. Like you don't have to do the game loops. You can just go on your own adventure, and
Oh yeah,
you can do that for, I mean, as long as you want to, and never
yeah.
get
I
bored.
highly I highly recommend putting yourself in a really terrible situation and then just see how you can get out of it. It's the most fun you'll ever have in a video game is doing that in Star Citizen, you know?
So when you and your crew go out, do y'all kind of have like an idea for what you want to get into that night, or is it just wherever the wind blows, and that's how you get into your shenanigans?
Yeah, it depends on so many different things. The game is so dynamic. There's so many different things that could happen. Like, I guess it was just last night somebody stole our Polaris while we were looting an area. So that could have turned into, who knows what, just that. Or somebody sneaks onto a ship. Or one of the things we've been kind of doing the past couple nights is, you know, in Stanton, um, if you want to loot, you basically have to do bunkers and things like that. But in Pyro, there's just loot boxes on the ground. So you can fly from planet to planet and just loot like it's a survival game. Just hunt for loot. So we've been kind of doing that, and then in the process of that happening, adventure just kind of finds you. Like there's so many people out there with on their own path doing their own thing. So you get yourself in their way. Anything can pop up. So, um, yeah, that's kind of all we've been up to for the past week or so.
Nice. Uh, for anybody that's going to be new going into Pyro, because there's still a lot of people who hasn't went out there yet. So somebody who's maybe wanting to check it out and do some looting, uh, what kind of advice would you give those people about what to expect?
Um, as of right now, there are some areas to just avoid, like Shepherd's Rest. I just don't go there, unless you want to fight, because there's almost always crews there and they're shooting everybody. Um, you know, I don't know. Stealth ships don't hurt, stuff like that. Landing far away, coming in on ground vehicles, that helps. Sometimes we just want to loot and get out, so we won't even let our presence be known. We'll land very far away, and then just riding in a rover or a hover vehicle, that's part of the adventure itself. This isn't the kind of game where you go somewhere, you do the thing, and you go back. Like the whole process of getting to the location and playing with your toys, your ships, and your ground vehicles. That's all the gameplay too. So, um, yeah, something like that, I guess. And
Yeah.
don't be afraid to run either for new players. Don't forget if you're in flight mode, just run. Don't be afraid to run. Pick a location you want to jump to get away before you enter where you're going. So as soon as you switch to flight mode, you can just point at what you already have selected and jump away.
Yeah.
A lot of
Have
things like
have
that
an
could
exit
help.
strategy.
Yeah.
I've definitely found ground vehicles have been very useful, and I don't know if they've done anything different to the hover bikes, or if it's just because the servers are generally running better since we have this shard now and multiple servers. But I've had
Hmm.
pretty good experience on most of my hover bikes on going into ground locations, and it's pretty
Yeah.
cool like that they have a use now. I've even done some of the pyro missions where because the NPC ships they're pretty beefy now, man, fighting the NPC
Oh yeah.
pilots. So I have
Even
actually tried
NPCs
to
on the ground.
yeah, oh
Even
yeah,
on
for
foot,
sure.
the NPCs are deadly. They're deadly now. So
So,
I would also say one other thing for new players. Um, Gear fear is the enemy. Don't be afraid of dying and losing your stuff. It's going to happen, especially in Pyro. So, if you're going to Pyro and you want to adventure around, you just have to embrace it. It's going to be what it is. You know what I mean? Um, and it's a lawless system, and there's lots of pirates there. There's lots of murder hobos. Don't be afraid to reach out for help too. Like people in chat are friendly. There's friendly people all over. Or find a group to play with, or just even if you're at a station, try and get on somebody's turret. There's always people flying multi-crew ships with empty seats. Find one of them. It's a good way to go about it.
yeah, that's true. I mean, like me myself, I know a lot of people want to be their own captain, but I mean, I love being a gunner. I think it's fun.
Yeah. Yeah, you can ask my guys. I fly so much and have a crew. I like it's a treat for me when I get to sit in a turret. I'm like, can somebody else please fly tonight? Let me get in the turret and just sit back and relax. I love it.
It is. It's like that's the relaxing job. You can like prop your feet up and sit there, one hand on the mouse,
Oh
and be a
yeah.
gunner.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yep.
No, that's awesome answers and good advice, man. So is there anything that Star Citizen or CIG could do maybe different or better that you would like to see done upcoming or this year?
Um, what could they do different? I don't know because there's a lot of things that I dislike, but I understand. You know what I mean? If that makes
Right.
sense. Um, okay, here's something. I think how do I put this? They need to market the game better for what it really is, I
Hmm.
think, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. So, I think when a lot of people get into the game, they're getting into something. It's not what you think it is, and what that's the way it was for me too. Like, it's hard to show the actual game, like the cinematics. They're so beautiful and everything's so amazing, and people see it and they get in. and then the game ends up being glitchy, or there are open PvP areas and stuff like that. So like, um, people just need to be a little more prepared for what they're actually buying into before, especially before you start spending actual money in this game. You know what I mean? So that sort of thing. Um,
Yeah, no, that's a pretty
yeah, I
good
don't know.
point. I don't know if they have. Because granted, a lot of their stuff is bespoke, or when it is filmed in game, it's just under best circumstances. Like stuff.
Yeah,
Somebody makes machinima
yeah.
makes. You don't see the bad parts,
Even our
and
videos, like if you watch a 10-minute for science video, it's usually 3 or 4 hours of gameplay, to get you
mhm,
that 10 minutes. So,
right.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
hard for people to be prepared what they're getting into. I guess I think a lot of people think it's going to be a strictly PVE situation, and then other people too think it's going to be a strictly PvP situation. And when I talk to new players or somebody who's thinking about getting in, I tell them it's actually neither. This is a sandbox that has PvE elements to it, but it's just it is what it is. So I don't know. That's one thing I would say that they could do a little differently. Um, the big thing too is just marketing ships all the time. There's always ship sales. Things are broken, but they can always lean on the it's an alpha game, I guess. But at the same time, you kind of can't. So it just it's a unique situation. It's a unique game. So like, it's one of those things. Don't take any of it too seriously. Don't spend too much money, and just be along for the ride. Because that's where I'm at.
Okay, so you just flew the Redeemer around the track. I know you said you're not you don't really consider yourself a racer, but that was pretty good, man. How did it feel to you flying the Redeemer around the Yater Valley?
Yeah, it felt good. I said before, I've never done a race in Star Citizen before. Um, uh, I'm kind of like I'm kind of addicted to the open sandbox. There couldn't be anything more on rails than a race, So it's never really
Right.
intrigued me enough to try them. So yeah, I think I did okay. I think if I had a few tries, I could have done better, but I think that's good enough for a quick run around, I guess.
Okay, so note to self: next time, have people with rail guns at the corners for bonds.
Yeah, I'll probably do better for that. Yeah, or explosions behind me. Yeah, just always have a missile lock on me or something,
Have
and I'll
a
probably do better.
there you go. No, so you run a
I did
220.
fly it. I did fly it in combat mode though. I'm sure people will see, but I did fly in combat mode just so it's a little more comfortable for me.
Gotcha. So you did a 223, which is pretty impressive, and that gives you the number third spot or number three spot. So that's a podium. It's a podium finish, man.
Nice.
Bonds, it's been great having you on here, man. I really appreciate it. Everybody, go check For Science out. They're on YouTube. We'll put their Twitch link as well. A lot of fun to watch. If you want to see some cool shenanigans,
Yeah.
they do a
Thanks for having me,
fantastic
man.
job. Yeah, man. Take it
Yeah.
easy.
Thanks for having me.